Let's give a hand to the band, everyone. Hello and welcome. Welcome to a show which I like to call Having a Good Time and Making Some Languages. Welcome back. It is another Tuesday, I believe. Yes, if I'm not mistaken. It is a Tuesday, and that means we're about to have some fun making some languages. Oh my goodness. I really do like that little music we have. I don't know. I think we need to find more ways of just sort of listening to that. Maybe we can have little, I don't know, we can do music cues or something. Lucy, can we do that? I don't know. So it's really good to see everyone here today. Today we're going to be working on our analytic language family, and we have a name. I'll do the official reveal in the segment, but I might as well tell you because you're here. We ran a poll on YouTube, and we had 4 different potential names for the family, and one won by a landslide. And that one is... Dun, 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 this is where that soundboard would come in handy. Drum roll, please. Probably shouldn't do that. Sakrat. So, the word sakrat is going to be... This is our word for sailor. This is going to be the name of our language family. And so we are now working on not mysterious analytic language, but Proto-Sakrat. So thank you for everyone for casting a vote and giving your input. I still like those 3 other names. In fact, I was kind of hoping Krang would win. I don't know why. But actually, we'll find opportunities to use them later, I think, because this is going to be a language family, and it's going to need to... branch. It's going to need to branch. We're going to need names for the different branches. And so I think this is partly what we're going to be working on today. we're going to be working on the first developments of the Sakrat family. So we're going to start with finally some sound changes. I've held off until now, but I don't think I can resist any longer. And otherwise, I think we have a little bit more grammar to work on for Proto-Sakrat. And yeah, we'll see how that takes us. Okay. All right. So let me do the whole YouTube thing. Let me just grab a swig of tea first. Center myself in the frame for YouTube. YouTube, welcome back. It's really good to have you here because we are doing what we do best. We are working on our language family. Which one? It's the analytic language family, which now has a name. Thanks to you, the community, who has voted on our little poll in the community tab, we have a name for this family, and it is the Sakrat family, the family of the sailors. So thank you all for voting in that, and I think we should get started on developing some grammar. I don't know. Let's go. Let's do it. And there we go. All right. Oh, it's so good to see everyone here today. It's always a pleasure. It makes me look forward to Tuesday afternoon so much, which, doesn't have this sort of classic status of that part of the week that everyone looks forward to. But for me, thanks to you, it is. It's also a moody blues song, right? Tuesday afternoon. I'm not going to sing it, don't worry. So we have let's take stock of what we have for Proto-Sakrat now. We have a little lexicon here on the right, which is actually not that little, just over 100 entries in it. We have a few meanings that lack forms and a few forms that lack meanings, but we'll sort that out at some point. And we have a few texts. So one of the texts we have is the North Wind and the Sun tale, which goes from here to here, which we call Panatutan Mare. And it's a lovely little story, which I think we will work with a bit today. We also have a variety of proverbs. Don't judge a fruit by its peel. Make sure you have enough coconuts. A lot of good life advice in there. And then last time we worked on making a few names. And so this was a good deal of fun. We've come up with great names, some favorites of mine. Duan Tarun, one who holds the fruit. Could be a good thing, I don't know. We also have things like Daraskal, the Bay of Souls, Silbaur, the Beach of Arrows. Like this is, I don't know. These are good. These are good. I think we're going in the right direction. So what I would like to do is take a look at some grammatical issues or some grammatical opportunities in the texts, because I would like, and I sort of thought about this last week when we were doing this, now that we have situations where we have these names, and we have a name like, I don't know, let's see, what would be a good one? Yes, so Pukaktap. Bird, literally if we glossed it, it's bird many. And because this is an SVO language, we don't know if this means many birds. Pukak is specifically the sort of chicken type of bird. So is it many chickens, or is it the chickens are many? There are many chickens. Similarly, we have Pukak Naran. We don't know if it's the good bird or so the good birds or the good chickens, or the chickens are good. Singular and plural we're not marking yet, at least. And so I think we need a way of disambiguating this. Okay, so I'm going to catch up on the chat now that I've laid out the agenda. So I don't know. How are we going to disambiguate this? We could do either, we could have some sort of article-like thing, or we could have some kind of a copula or predicate marker. Those would be two ways I think we could do it. Or we could do both. I'm going to catch up a little bit on the chat because I see lots of good stuff coming in. All right. Yeah, I think Quayne, we're going to have to make this into a music channel. We're going to have to... The Wellerman. I haven't heard that name in years. 1.25 years, to be precise. We did say 0. We said optional copula at least. Let's see. I think we have something in here about that. We have... Yeah. We have this copula in parentheses here. So we don't actually have anything for a copula, I don't think. No. Okay. No copula. And we need one. So what would we do? What would we do to make a copula here? We could just come up with a nice light form. A nice light form, like where is our phonology? We come up with a nice light form like he or something that could work as a copula or a predicate marker. Specifically, so it doesn't have to just go in front of nominal predicates. It could go in front of all predicates optionally when we want to disambiguate. Hey is the copula in Haka. Well, okay, great. We're walking in good shoes then. I don't know. Hey just occurred to me. Maybe I've got some subconscious influence. Okay, so let's see what it looks like when we put hey in. Now the question is, if it's optional, what is going to govern the conditions when it's used or not used? Because I think it does make sense to have it be optional. Just because it feels a bit heavy. I'm using this sort of super scientific vocabulary here. It feels just a bit heavy to have it everywhere. But let's see. Let's take one of these. Let's take one of these. Okay, so this is... these sentences here. Let's write it out down here. So we have ahung isunque nok temen. So the one, we can say relative, have power, exceed all, and then temen, what was that? Which one? Okay. So which one is the most powerful? Would be the literal translation. So if we wanted to put this in, we would say something like ahung isung que nok he temen. Or rather, yeah, that's right. Let's zoom in a little. Good point. Let's zoom in a little. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps resetting my zoom every time. How's that? Okay. Henga, welcome. Welcome to the stream. The scream. It's not a scream. Well, it may be a scream. You never know. We might get there. I just read it out. Okay, so let's continue. So if we use hey here, I'm happy with that. We could also do something like have a like some sort of an article for a proper noun, which we could use in this story a lot because we have the north wind and the sun. And so if we would have a sort of a proper noun article, which you get in some Polynesian languages. Why are you the wrong color? Why would you do this to me? Okay, there we go. So, north, wind, and sun. Past dispute. Okay, so if we wanted to have a, and let's just get the full translation, the north, wind, and the sun were disputing. So if we want to give ourselves some proper action, let's get another nice light syllable. Something that we won't get tired of repeating over and over again. Maybe something like u, yo. Ah, neku. I like it. Yo. I don't know if that was a suggestion or is that you just saying hi, but why not? So we could have our proper name, our proper name article be yo panatutan mayore lakiris. Yeah. And this, I think, I don't know. I like this. Let's sit with it for a while and see how we end up feeling. All right. I also think we need some aspectual markers. I don't know. This is kind of like just grammar grab bag here. So what can we do? We could have some sort of, I don't know, some kind of continuative, imperfective thingy, something in that realm. And let's use some grammaticalization to get that going. So what if we consult our references, which I will do off screen, we can get this kind of continuous aspect marking from a lot of sources. So the verb to come, to go, to lie, to sit, to stand, to live, lots and lots of options. So if we want to replace this or add to this this sentence here, something like, just call it continuous, have something here. We could use any of these verbs that we already have. So what do we have? What are our options? Do we have something for to come? No, we do not. So let's just leave that for now. To do, we do have to do, right? Sera. Okay, so we could do something like la sera kiris. They were disputing. We could do something like, I don't know, what else do we have on this list? Do we have, we don't have sit, do we? No. Do we have stand? No. Do we have go? Yes, we do. We have this go to. So sra or sre. Yeah. I think we could use sra as our spectral marker there. So yo panatutan mayore las rakiris. Yeah, if we had a sit, I mean, we can always make it up. Let's give ourselves a sit. And what could it be? Where's our phonology? Come back, phonology. There we go. Okay, what could we have for to sit? Keeping in mind that it's a potential candidate for this continuative aspect. So, open to suggestions from the chat. Here's our syllable structure, and remember this is the sesquisyllabic language, so minor syllable, major syllable, and the minor is optional. And obviously, you know, all of these consonants are optional, and this whole thing is optional. Wong. Oh, I like that. Let's see how that feels. Yes, and whenever people come up with things, it's wonderful because if we get more than one, we can just use it for other roots. So it's fantastic. So we have wong, bitah, mol. Perfect. Okay, so let's audition them, shall we? Yopana tutan mayore la wong kiris. Yopana tutan mayore la bitah kiris. Yopana tutan mayore la sra kiris. Yeah, we have that one too. And Yopana tutan mayore la mol kiris. I am leaning towards using... I kind of like this wong. I don't know why. It just sort of tickles my fancy. So this is to sit and the continuative aspect. Lovely. Thank you for all the suggestions here. Okay. Krang. Sorry if I've missed yours. Sometimes the chat goes by quickly. All right. Yeah. So here we go. Yopanatutan mayore la wonkiris. Okay, I think we have a new first line of the story. Yopanatutan mayore la wonkiris. Kiris beda ahungisunque noctemen. And here, hey. Kiris beda ahungisunque nocte temen. Drurusad da apidru puintuar lestra aroban tron agirak. And so the question that I'm still not clear on, and I'm wondering how to approach this, is how are we going to, if this is going to be an optional copula, how are we going to sort of control when it appears and when it doesn't? Yeah, that's not something I'm totally sure how to handle yet. I like the idea of it, and I like it better than putting hey in front in every single sentence. Maybe it only occurs when you don't have, I don't know, when you don't have any sort of tense or aspect morphology. Maybe something like that. It's sort of like a morpheme of last resort, saying, hey, by the way, I'm a predicate, in case you didn't already know. Yes, this is a head initial language. I think we haven't deviated from that overly. Are you? Oh, maybe you're asking because of the position of yo, this proper article. Yeah, that's a good question. So, would we then want to put it way at the end, given that's sort of where in the sort of inside the noun phrase, things like demonstratives show up in these languages sometimes. Although I think that there are definitely counterexamples to that. I think there are examples where you have something more article-like on the left and then all the other noun phrase bits on the right. Although I would have to consult some notes to know for sure. Okay, let's take a look at. Yeah, let's go through and sort of do another pass through this story, and then we'll wrap up this segment and we'll move on to some sound changes, I think. Yeah, exactly. It is head initial. The head is the D. So the head is the determiner. Oh yeah, I should probably spell that out. The head is the determiner. The head of the phrase in some where is it? Yore. So in some theories, noun phrases are not really noun phrases. Well, there are noun phrases, but above them there's an additional layer of the determiner phrase, and things like articles are the head of that. And so, you know, technically, having the article in front would make it head initial still. Oh, yeah, thank you. It should be wind north. Good point. Now are we going to handle this? Oh, that's a funny story. So, if you look at English phonology, I don't know if anyone's, stop me if you've heard this one. If you look at English phonology, I'm going to go story time. If you look at English phonology and you try and map out what the phonological inventory of English is, and you're using a strictly looking at complementary distribution, you will notice that H and the velar nasal appear in exactly the opposite environments. So H, syllable initially, the velar nasal, syllable finally. And if you are really, really, really hardcore about this way of defining phonemes, then you could make a case, and I think it was done in like the 30s, that H and in English are the same phoneme. You just get h, syllable initially, and ng, syllable finally, or yeah. There are some asterisks about that, but that's generally it. Yeah, so that's a little story. I don't know. I don't think anyone so this comes up because when you're teaching intro phonology, you're teaching the method of coming up with a phonological inventory, and you use this technique of complementary distribution. So you find if one potential allophone, if something that you're trying to find out if two things are allophones of the same phoneme, if they show up in exactly the opposite environments, then that's good evidence usually that they are allophones of the same phoneme. But they usually have to put in a little asterisk and say there should be some sort of like similarity between the two sounds. You shouldn't just take things that happen to only survive in one position and other things that happen to only survive in the exact complement of those positions and call them allophones of the same phoneme. Yeah, cool stuff. All right, sorry. Yep, back to the matter at hand. Okay, so what else do we have to do? I think we have to. I'm going to kind of use the force. I'm going to just go instinctively and put in hey where I think it should go, and then maybe we can come up with some generalization about what factors are conditioning whether it shows up or not. So drurusad da apidru puituar nglestra aroban tron agirak. So I kind of want that he in here. And okay, then we have panat. Oh, and then we also have to put in our article here. Proper noun. Yo panatutan pidru nom ngisun hok huhu. Huhuque hu ngisun arobanque nom patek talernis. But the keener his blast, the closer the traveler wrapped his cloak around them. This is given I don't know, this seems like a proper noun. No, it's not. But for the purposes of our story, we can call him traveler. So instead of aroban, we would have yo aroban. So he's a character. Pana bakal. And here we have it again. Yo pana. crop. Yopana bakalquenok yapklat tuan girak nok. Kut re. Kut yore. Kut yore qua kra puis ramen. Okay, I feel like there should be a copula in here. And last, the wind. So the wind at last gave up all hope of victory and called the sun to see what he could do. Yeah, maybe we could put it in here. Be able to, I mean, so any of these things can be their own. The problem is we have a language here that doesn't really recognize distinctions in word class. So we're relying on other stuff to give us that information. And what I'm worried about is the parsing issue, where you're going through and you have no marking for word class on any of these content words. So something could be a noun, it could be an adjective, it could be an adverb, it could be a verb, depending on the situation. And you may get into situations where you have ambiguous, a lot of ambiguity. And in that case, it would be nice, I think, to have some kind of, I'm calling it copula, but it's really like, hey, a predicate follows marker. And so that's why I'm thinking of putting it before this puis, to be able. I don't know. We're trying it on. All right. So what else do we have? Yore. The sun. Nom tuarnok. Lanrit. See here, I think there's no opportunity to for confusion because we have this past marker la. Maltikal be yo aroban. Again, cursed by these auto URL things. Ugh. Not a fan. Maltikal be yo aroban pibrum pawure. Dru la tuar ngles. Pakal quenok ngasir tuarpok tuarngles lalusul besidal awisel benakri. So where is this? At last undressed. Okay, so wait, what is this? Undress is tuarngles, I think. Remove clothes. So let's just write that. Remove clothes. La past lusul be sidal awisel be nakri. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so catching up on the chat now. Oh, Samuel, thank you so much for joining live. I'm very glad you could join us. Yeah, I think we're accumulating a decent store of clips for the intro today. Welcome. Okay, so we've done a bit of work on the grammar. I'm going to put in a cut here. I'm trying to keep the clips like not hour long, so I'll put in a cup here. A cup. Okay, just anyway. I'll put in a cut here, and we can start another segment. I think we should start to work on. We'll start to work on the sound changes, because we have been making a proto language here. The whole point of a proto language is for it to have to be fruitful and multiply, and we can have all sorts of fun sound changes. So let's do that. I'll say goodbye to the YouTube people who are watching this in the future. Come back. There's all sorts of stuff going on here, much like this. So we will see you next time. And then I'll do a sort of a mug for the camera. Okay, hopefully that that ends it. Right. The chat is memeing hard. I'm just gazing in awe and appreciation. Okay. Okay, so we need to work on some sound changes. And I think that for this language family, we want to have, I'm envisioning something kind of like, I don't know, kind of like Austronesian, where you have the sort of the proto-language homeland in one place, and then you have a bunch of stuff that branches off from that, and then just sort of, I don't know how I can't really, I'll use my hands. You have the branch that stays in the homeland, like here, and then all the rest with a huge amount of branches and languages that branch off from there. So relatively conservative languages in the which stay in the original homeland, and then a lot of innovation in the languages that left. That's kind of the basic idea I'm thinking of. So, okay, I guess I'll do a little YouTube intro, and then yeah, and then we'll start. Okay. YouTube, hi. Welcome back. We're working on the Sakrat language family, and you heard me right because I said language family, not just the proto-language. We are actually going to start deriving things for the descendant languages today. So, let's get started, shall we? Let's get started. Okay, what do we have for our inventory for the proto-language? To recap, we have this sesquisyllabic structure where we have a minor and a major syllable. The minor syllable is optional, so we can illustrate. Oh, there we go. We can illustrate with the forms on the right. So we have things like te. Te are just have a major syllable. So the major syllable is mandatory. Everything has to have the major syllable. So tra, te, tar, tal, sui, sre. These are all just composed of the major syllable element. The syllable structure of the major syllable is syllable is CRVC, where R is any of these guys, ra, la, ya, wa, and otherwise it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, boring 5-vowel system. No, it's not boring. It's beloved. And then the minor syllable is a CV, where the V is only one of the 3 peripheral vowels, a, i, u. And that's about it. So as examples for that, we have susyut, tarun, tinan, pukak, pukak, rusad, Sakrat, the name of the family, pibrun. So this is what we're working with. And so I'm thinking what we could do is have, so this will be Proto-Sakrat. And then we've dealt with that already. Let's push this down over here. So then we want this branch 1 to be the proto language of the languages that stayed in the original homeland. And then we want branch 2 to be the ones that left. And so my idea is generally branch 1 is going to be more conservative. I don't think it's universal, but it's pretty typical for languages to be more conservative in their sort of original homeland. I mean, this is not, I think, by any stretch a rule, but it has been known to happen on occasion, and I think that's a cool pattern for us to replicate. So B1 will be a relatively conservative branch. B2 will be where all the radical changes happen. So what are we going to do? I think the big thing that we should do for B2 is start wearing down these minor syllables. I think this could be the big the big split. So we have things like, we have bakal. Let's just put no changes into B1 at the moment, and we'll make some changes for it after. And then instead of bakal, we have a schwa. Bakal. Oops. Where am I? I always get lost. Okay, there we go. So we start to lose some of the distinctions, the vowel distinctions. Actually, we lose all the vowel distinctions in the initial, in that minor syllable. And let's try another example, because I think this will be fun. So dipan and depan. But I don't want to lose this distinction altogether. So what I think we could do is leave a little trace that used to be an E. So dipan. And then we can do the same thing with, where's one with an U? Kusli. So we have kusli, and in B2, oops, bit far down. So kusli will become not kasli, but kosli. And so we start to have this vowel contrast expressed on the consonant. So that, I think, is a big change that's going to end up having a lot of fun effects. Because now, once that vowel contrast is expressed on the consonant, we are free to use it and create a whole new series of consonants. So, time to review the chat, because I see that there's been some good stuff. Yes. Okay, Quain's got some cool stuff. So then we can talk about what's going on in B1, 2. And maybe what happens is... Okay. Why don't we leave B1, 2 out of it for now? You will get pakal. Quain, you will get pakal, I promise you that. Okay, so then this is one branch, then B2, I don't know what we're going to call this. We could call this B2, 2, I guess. And then we lose the schwa here. So then, and we're going to have to probably assimilate the voicing. So there's where you get your pakal. Pakal, and then something like chipan, and then something like kusli. But maybe what happens here is this secondary articulation spreads to the whole cluster. So pakal, tipian, and kusli. Kusli. Obviously that's temporary. We're going to do something. Oh, sorry. I always, let me just push this over here. So let me rephrase, because I realize it may have been hard to see some of it. So we have bakal going to bakal in branch 2. And then, so the first change is we lose vowel contrasts, and those vowel contrasts get realized as secondary articulations on the preceding consonant. Then we delete that vowel altogether, and then the resulting consonant cluster turns into something that, we see assimilation in voicing. So we go from bakal to bakal. So we lose the voicing on that ba. And we also assimilate in the secondary articulation, but in the opposite direction. So if we have palatalization on this diapan, when we lose the schwa, we get the voicing assimilating from the second member of the cluster, and the palatalization getting spread to the entire cluster. So we get tpian. And similarly, the same with kusli, which becomes kwasli. So we have labialization on this, on the K, and the U becomes a schwa. And then when the schwa drops out, that labialization permeates the entire cluster. That's the kind of idea. Okay. So that is one option. Maybe we also have a language, so maybe this is B21, which does not retain the secondary articulations. So we lose it altogether, and we just go to ksli. Ksli, tpan, kal. Yeah, and so then we get something like Bruce, Bruce, and this just ends up being the same. I don't know why that's not copying and pasting for me. It's doing this again, isn't it? Yeah, I think I've been here before. Sometimes, there we go. Okay. So B21 loses the secondary articulations. Maybe before it loses them, we get that affrication that we all love so much. And so let me find where that IPA keyboard was. Hello. There you go. Okay. And so then we want our good, where is it? So we get something like chpan. And maybe the voicing assimilates the other way in this one, so we get jban. And then what we could do is do something like B221, where we lose the second. So, okay, this is wonderful. So Benji, yes. So after we have these labialized consonants, maybe they will throw off their rounding onto the vowel. And so we can lose them that way. So then we get in B221, sli. In, oops, what else do we have? In, I don't think any, well, we'll leave that for now. What would it do? Maybe it would front the a to an e or something. Depend. I'm just going to, oops. Maybe we get something like this. Depend. And maybe we get, what else? Do we have any others that are interesting? No, we don't. So maybe that's B221 and then B222. We do not get that. We get tpian. So we get a full on glide. And we get xlui. Okay. And then maybe what happens in this language, this branch, B222, is I think we need some more stuff. Maybe S goes to H and aspirates the K here. I don't know. We're just sort of messing around here. It's all up for grabs. But we could do something like this. Clui. So now we have, assuming that that 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, and 1 are the terminal nodes, we have kusli, ksli, kslu, klui, which I like. This is getting fun. Yeah, so we might have something like we might have something like let's branch off of this one. So 2, 2, 1. I don't know, 2, 2, 1, 1. How am I doing these numbers? I don't know. And this is going to have a parenthesis to repair some of these clusters. So where Neku mentioned this, right? So ksali. Maybe it goes there and becomes ksali. Maybe that is what we'll do there, and we get reapenthesis of schwa, tapen, pakal, but not barus because this one's fine. Yeah, and so then we have this new contrast between schwa and nothing that isn't identical to the contrast that the proto-language had. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing so many amazing ideas in the chat here. Thank you. The chat overfloweth. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up on an idea of Quain's here, because we can get that that lateral fricative. So where did it go? I saw it. I just saw it. Xli, kli, kli. Yep. So B21, B211 is going to have something like, back to the IPA chart, la 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 la. No, that's not the right one. Where is the lateral fricative on here? Ah. Xli. And then, actually, sorry, Kli, which is going to become Kli. This should be 2.1.1. Okay. So then if we look at these cognate sets, these are getting kind of fun. So let's say that, let's mark the ones that are terminal nodes. Ooh, that's a big green. See, because I'm in dark mode, they don't show up as I'd expect. Is that painful to view? I'm trying to find a nice color. Okay, that's fine, I think. Although I don't know if I can find it again. Sorry, this must be painful to watch. Yeah. Cool. It's 4 over and 1 up. So B1 is terminal. And by terminal node, I mean just something that we're going to be sort of comparing apples to apples. Things that aren't just intermediate states. Okay, so this one, maybe these three. So we have something like kusli, kli, ksli, ksali, and klui. And that's a pretty that's a decent set of cognates right there. How did we get dark mode in Google Sheets? There is a plugin called Dark Reader, which does the job. And I forget who it was who mentioned it, but it was someone either in the chat or in YouTube comments who mentioned it, and this has improved my life immeasurably. So kusli to tli. Okay, so then let's see what else we have. We have words like, let's take a look at and see what happens with munal. So munal, in B2 we lose this u and it becomes moi. Munal. In B21 we just go to mnal. And B211, I don't think we have anything for this yet, so we will ponder. In B22, we spread the secondary articulation to the entire cluster. In B221, I don't think we're going to do anything necessarily to the a, because it is not front. But in B2211, we might have mnual. And in B, oh no, sorry, that's incorrect. We have manal. And it's B222 where we get mnual. There we go. So this is not a terminal node, sorry. So these would be the modern languages. 1, 211, 2211, and 222. So far, anyway. Okay. Let's do more. So we want something to do in B211. So let's do the thing that that Scottish Gaelic does, or at least some varieties at least, where we go from manal to mral. So we have a nasal vowel there. Mral. That could work. And maybe we also have one yeah, maybe it's, oh, Benji, that's a good point. Maybe we introduce a contrast between the tap and the trill. So mra, mral. And then in 2, 1, 2, we do initial geminates. Mal. Oops. Which thing is going to be the geminate? The first one. John. Pal. Okay. Yeah, chat is fast today. So cool. All right. Now let's see if we can get everything on screen. I don't think we can. Maybe if I move myself, because I'm not as important as these forms. Go down here, you can see more. As long as I don't do stuff at the bottom. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Raven, we could make rounded into aw or o. And that could be a fun thing to do, especially because What was that form? Manal. Especially because this language is starting to have a more extensive vowel inventory. So why don't we do O? So rounded A goes to O. And so we have O and E. And so that would be Manol. And then we get this really, really cool cognate set. Munal, Maral, Mal, Manol, Mnwal. That can stand up there with our kusli, kli, ksali, klui, I think. And we haven't even touched the coda yet. There are things that we can do. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do lupit, flower. So we have lupit. We then do our magic where we have lupit. And then in 2-1, we just delete that. And I think in 2-1 we should metathesize this. Yeah, I don't know. Let's leave that for a second. And do B22. So we have lupuit, tough. And then we have lepit. And then we epenthesize schwa to get leput. And similarly, what are we going to do here? We have lepuit. So, and maybe we metathesize this, pluit, instead of lepuit. Yeah. Why are we missing tones? We are not going to be missing tones for long, but I want to get us a little ways along the segmental changes first. I want to make sure we have enough to work with to do the tones. We're going to get tones. Yeah, we're going to get tones in one of these. Probably not today, because I think we'll have to talk about tonogenesis, and I don't think... yeah, I'd rather do that with a bit of... yeah, I'd like to prepare some stuff. All right. Catching up on the chat. Bakal, makal, mkal, nkal, ngal, ngao. And then there's some tone in there. Okay, let's work with that. So what is... Yeah, no, if you've posted an idea and I haven't seen it, Neku, I just saw your message up there. It's not that I think it's bad. It's I'm not a great multitasker. And when the stream goes, the stream of text goes, I don't see all of it. Okay, so let's do what Benji's talking about here. So let's try one where we have... I don't know what. Maybe we should have B3. Oops, B3. And B3 could have something where all the voiced stops just become nasals. So we have makal and marus and nipan and still kusli. Lupit would be the same. Munal would be the same. Okay, so that's B3. And then B3.1 is going to lose. It's just going to straight up lose these minor syllables. Okay. And then we are going to have some assimilation, place assimilation. As Benji's pointed out, we're going to have this mkal become something like ngal. So we're going to take the place from the second consonant. We're going to take the voicing from the first. And so we end up with this kind of prenasalized stop, which looks like ngal. And similarly, mban. Anyone else? Repeat. We'll have to figure out something cool to do with that. Maybe that just will metaphesize as well, to pleat. And so then we may have a voiced. Yeah, what else are we gonna have? We're having a prenasalized versus voiceless contrast. So if we're going to, oops, the chat's not updating. Okay, there we are. So x to ska. So while we're on the topic of metathesis, Neku points out an opportunity where we can use it in this xli. So we could have something like a metathesis showing up here, skli, and then we would get scully, and I think we would still get clwi. I'll have to think about this. Where do we want that metathesis to happen? Maybe it's just here, scully, and maybe we could also do it here, skli. And maybe what we could do is have this same thing where, I don't know. I don't want to be samey. But basically, I'd like to have a language with a three-way voicing contrast somewhere in here so we can start to have fun when tone comes up. And I don't know that... Oh, we do have it in B222. So I think B222 is going to be the branch that that is going to undergo tonogenesis. I mean, maybe some of the others will as well, but I think this is our sort of ground zero for tonogenesis. Okay, I'm gonna just stop here, just for the sake of having shorter videos on YouTube, so people aren't having to go through a whole hour at once, and I will thank our YouTube audience for joining us. Thank you, YouTube. You're great. Keep doing what you do. And come back and join us because we're going to keep doing this. We're just going to keep going. So I'll do the final mug for YouTube. I'll get one of these. Okay, I think that's done. Let's do some more work on this because I think we're on a roll. We are on a roll. Okay, so I think we need to understand better what the sort of genetic relationships between these things are. So basically what we're doing is we've got... I'm going to have to find a little... I don't know. I'll find a way to write. I don't know. How do I do this? Can I just write on the screen somehow? I don't think so. Oh, I'll get that sketchbook app open. The one I'm so good at using. I'm terrible. But I'll prepare it before. I'll prepare it. There we go. And we need... Okay. Sketchbook. It's tree drawing time. We have to do a Stammbaum. Okay, So I'll start the YouTube thing for the next segment. What's going on? YouTube, welcome back. Working on the Sakrat family. I don't know if you've been following along. If you have, you will have seen that we have started to make a lot of descendant languages for this proto-language. And let's not stop now. Let's do more. But before we do too much, I think we need to clarify what the genetic relationships we're creating are all about. So let's do it. Let's go into the side webcam. There we go. So this is what we're dealing with. We have B1, B2, B3. These are the branches, 3 branches of the language that come off from Proto-Sakrat. And then B2 branches into a bunch of different languages, sub-branches. So we need to clarify this because this is getting confusing. And that's what we will do now. To that end, I will do the thing that I'm terrible at, which is play with the tablet. So let's see if I do this. Oh, wonderful. Okay. That was less wonderful. Come back, color. There we go. And there we go. And now we are here. Okay. So let's look back at our chart. I'm going to move this over to the other window so I can see it while I'm doing this. So we have at the top. So we have Proto-Sakrat. Let me make sure that you can see that all right. Yeah, okay. I mean, you can see it modulo my terrible handwriting. It's supposed to be a T. And Proto-Sakrat breaks off into 3 branches. Branch 1, and we have this in mind as the branch that sort of stayed in the homeland. We have branch 2, and we have branch 3. And a 3 is not written like a C, it is written like a 3. Okay. So then what happens is branch 2 branches off into branch 2.1, and branch 2.2. And then 2.1 itself branches off into branch 2. Yeah, okay, we're still visible. 2.1.1 and branch 2.1.2. And these are all going to have better names, but for now. And then we even have 2, yeah, right? 2.1.2. Good. Okay. Then we have 2, branch 2.2, which branches off into branch 2.2.1 and branch 2.2.2. So you're seeing me at the sort of limit of my ability to keep track of all of these things in my head. And so let's take an example word to show what's happened in each of these. So let's take our word for C, kusli. And so in Proto-Sakrat we have kusli. Sorry about the overlap there. That's our proto form. And then in B1 we have so far relatively unchanged kusli. In branch 3.1 we have in branch 3, and actually we have a descendant language of branch 3, branch 3.1. We have lost, well, in branch 3 nothing much has happened, kusli, but in branch 3.1, and I really have to make sure I'm able to show you all of this on the same thing. I really need more sound. I really need more screen space, I think. How many monitors? I didn't realize how many monitors I'd need to do this. We have the loss of U and some metathesis. So we have skli. Yeah, okay, you can see that. So then we have B2, and I will get back to the chat soon. I just can't see it because I've got all of these windows up. So I'm not ignoring your comments. In B2, we get the loss of the vowel quality. Oops, I've chosen a different color here for some reason. No matter. We have a loss of the vowel quality in the minor syllable, and that contrast being transferred to the preceding consonant. So we have quasli. And then in 2.1, we just lose that vowel. Oops. We lose that vowel, so we have xli. So let's see if I can make that a bit clearer. Xli. In 2.1.1, this xli turns into kli, because SL turn into something like HL, which turn into the lateral fricative, and then kla becomes tla. And so the same thing actually happens in 2.1.2. Then in 2.2, what happens is we lose this vowel, like in 2.1, but the secondary articulation spreads across the entire cluster. So we have ksli. I think I saw someone mention that there's some real schwa vibes there, and I agree. And if you don't know what that's referring to, check out the Ruining Tokipona series. And then in 2.2.1, we lose this secondary articulation, and it gets put back onto the vowel. So we get xlu. All right. And then in 2.2.2, we lose the secondary articulation, except it gets put onto a glide. So we actually get we at the end, and as in an unrelated change, S turns into H, and then we get klui. So that H ends up aspirating the initial stop, and yeah, there we go. There are two more languages that I've neglected to mention, but I don't think we have room for them. But they descend from 2.2.1. And so we have, see if I can get enough space on this. So we have B2.2.1. 1 and B2. Oh no, that's all. So we have one descendant language of this B2.2.1. Okay. Yep, I got it. It's all up here, sort of. And what do we have in this language? We have the reintroduction of schwa through epenthesis to break up illicit syllable clusters, and we have a bit of metathesis. So we have skalu. And that's what we have so far. Okay. So I'm going to return now to the chat. Whew, that was tough. And yeah. And I'm not exactly sure where the stress is on your name. Is it Soton or Soton? You'll have to correct me or guide me on that. But yeah, maybe in retrospect, it would have been better to call these branches A, B1. And I think that's what we'll probably do from now on. Excellent idea. There's a question in from Pixel Music if I have any experience in neography for conlangs. I do. And in fact, this is something that I have vague plans to do on this channel, but we might need Lucy's help a little bit for that because, as you can see, me, art, live, not ideal. Lucy, on the other hand, is a real pro. Oh, neography is creating writing systems. Yeah, neography. So I see. Yeah, it's a school. This is like a school poster where everything's in big letters at the start and then you gradually get smaller. Oh dear, it's all real. Okay, so this is basically what we've got going on here. And to put it into connection with the rest of the work that we've been doing with the call languages, I want some of these to be in contact with some of the call languages. And as a 1,000 subscriber special, we will be, I think, making a Sakrat call pigeon. And so one of these languages and one of the call languages, maybe Lateralfricative, I don't know, I've just got a real soft spot for that language. We're going to make a pigeon, and then we're going to see some effects of contact on both languages, most likely. Because the sort of world building idea is that the Sakrat languages are spread far and wide through sea travel, and will end up being able to become very divergent over time with the effect of contact with the other language families in this kind of world building project. So that's the big picture. Oh, Sotin. Oh, okay. Yeah, Sotin. That I did not know. And making a pigeon is something that we're kind of in a unique position rather to do, because we have started work at least now on two families that are very, very different. And so I think we can have some fun with that. And it's going to lead us into other questions about what it is this world is that we're building. And so we've got some plans to do some fun, more world building stuff. Maps might be involved at some point. So yeah, that's the general gist of the plan, but let's return to the language and let's derive some more fun forms. Got to stay hydrated as well. Rising Rose isn't here to tell me to stretch, and look what happens. Okay. Let's make some more forms. What's gonna be fun? I see we haven't done anything for Lupit for B211 and 212. I am going to start forgetting what the sound changes are for all of these because I've kind of bitten off more than I can chew, but that's what happens. So we have Lupit. I think we're going to need to do something about this. I think we're going to need to metathesize here. Yeah, because these are two, a lateral and a stop. I'd rather metathesize than geminate there. At least in 212, we have this option of geminating. But I think not. Yeah. Okay, so we have pleat, mal. That works. What else do we have to do? Let's see if we can have fun with another form. I think daslor would be a good one to do. So let's first do our B1, B2, and B3. So we have daslor, daslor, and daslor. And then we can finish off the three family by getting rid of this vowel. And what did we have going on in 3? Oh, no. I forgot one thing for 3. It's not daslor, it's maslor. because the voice stops nasalize. And then we lose the vowel, so we get mslor. Did we do anything with the S there? This is a metathesizing language. So mslor, smlor. That could work. Smlor. And then what are we going to do here? The slor in B21, we go to slor. And then we get a nice form in D211 slor. And for 212, we have this this love of geminates. So what we could do, I don't know if we really need or have any desire to geminate anything of it in this because it's nice and rising sonority. Slor. Yeah. We can leave that. Okay, so this one doesn't have as many variant forms, sadly. And then in 2-2, we have deslor turning into slor. And I think it just goes as slor, which is kind of sad. But here we get slor, maybe tsalor. And because we reepenthesize schwa here. And slor here. Okay. Vocalization of a lateral. That sounds fun. Maybe we could do that in one of these. Maybe in... what's one that we need to spice up a bit? Maybe we could do it in B222. B2222. So we could do cow and swor. So when it's beside a back vowel, it will turn into a W. Cow, swor. That's kind of fun. Do we have any other instances of this? Pluit. No, but oops. Yikes. But wow. When are we getting pukak? Pukak. Right now. All right, what's going to happen with pukak? Oh no, I'm going to have to remember what happens to all of these in all of these branches. No, okay. So we get pukak in B1. We get pukak in B2, which I think is even more chicken-like. And we get pukak in B3. I'm going to need to have the others as reference. So I'm just going to go up here and ruin our order. But I'm going to put it here so I can at least know what I'm doing before we've written out all the sound changes. That's going to be fun, by the way. Putting all of these into Lexergy. Yikes. What am I signing myself up for? All right, so what happens in 3-1? We lose our vowel, and we pkak. This one likes to metathesize. Pkak, kpak. I don't know if either of those is better than any other. Yeah, we may want to simplify that because we have this language has the prenasalized stops, and then other than that, it has strictly rising sonority. So we may actually just end up deleting one of these stops. Word initial geminates are not going to survive, I think, Raven. That's a good point. So what might happen is we could turn them into adjectives. we could turn them into some other kind of phonation, like what happened in Korean with that tense voice, which ends up throwing off high tone, I believe, later on. And Neku, oh, that's a really cool idea. So if an initial L follows by a consonant, if an initial L is followed by a consonant, it vocalizes. So let's see if we can, okay, let's take a brief detour because I really want to try that out. So here we have something like Ulpit. Where's our language that vocalizes? So instead of pluit, we get opuit. And then we vocalize that L there. Yeah, I like that. Ejectives, we're going to introduce ejectives. I just don't know where yet. So if you see anything, if you see any one of these branches that seems to cry out for, not enough has been done to it, let's put ejectives in there. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah. Jack attack. Yeah, basically, I mean, we do definitely need more words, but right this second, we're just sort of playing out the changes in the ones that we've got. Although feel free to shout them into the chat, and if I catch it, I'll put it in. And if I don't catch it and I haven't put it in, when this goes up on YouTube, just put it in the comments, and then I'll get it that way. Okay, what was I doing? Oh yeah, Pukak. So we need to derive Pukak in the B2 branches. So what happens here? We just get Pukak, and then we have our language that our language that deletes. So in this language, we delete and we harmonize. Well, we've already harmonized the voicing across the cluster. So this might be a place where we want to put in ejectives. Could be. And then in this one, we turn that PK cluster into a geminate. And then in 2.2, what do we do? This is the one with the sort of Russian style secondary articulations in the clusters. And so here we have quack. And in 2.2.1, those go away, and the secondary articulation gets put back onto the vowel, and so we get this open O here, I believe, is what it should be. Not yet. No, it should be, right? Manol. Okay, I'm going to leave that for now because I think I've mixed up the parallelism of that yeah to that ya to eh and wa to o change. But at some point, I forget where, we are going to turn this into o. So I think it really should be here. 2.2.1. Yeah. It should have been there. That's what it should have done. It's all good. Hopefully there's at least some amusement in trying to watch me figure this stuff out on the fly. So this is pkok. And then in 2.2.1.1, we epenthesize a schwa. And then in 2.2.2, what do we do? We do quack. Yeah. Yeah. B2 has ducks, not chickens. Okay. So, instead of the word initial geminates in one of these languages, we could do ejectives. Yeah, so do we have multiple languages with word initial geminates? I almost feel, I'm with this idea, this is kind of like the maximalist language family. So whenever we do a change, I kind of want to branch off a language that doesn't do it so that we can have as much fun as possible. But yeah, what I was thinking is, what we haven't done is, and just tell me what you think, we could do like the sort of P Celtic thing where qua becomes pa. So we have to find somewhere that has it. Here, 2-2. So maybe, I don't know, we don't have any opportunities to do it except for here, and I'm already kind of happy with the way they look. And I don't want to introduce another branch because I think I'm at the limit of my cognitive capacity to handle them all. Let's just pocket that, and we may want to return to it. Qua to pa. Qua to pa is actually a very common change. It's happened over and over again. What happens is when you have qua, you have a velar or a dorsal gesture. So the back of your tongue is going up to make the ka. And you have a labial gesture, which is the rounding. So the labialized ka is qua, right? And so you have these two gestures, the labial gesture and the dorsal gesture. And what can happen is the dorsal gesture is actually making a stop. The labial gesture is not. But what can happen is those gestures get mistimed, and you can end up doing something like pa instead of qua. So pa, and then pa just becomes pa because you're already making the stop here. The velar closure can't be heard as well, and so that's at least one explanation of how that might happen. Yeah, so this has happened in Celtic languages. This has happened in Romanian. This has happened in the history of French as well, to a limited extent. Which is, trying to think of an example that's simple that I can... Well, it's not a simple example, but aqua to o is a good example, and I actually have a video from early on in this channel's history where I talk about that. So you can look that up. But if you're curious about the details and you want to see me struggle with that sketchbook software, truly early days. Okay. Let's do one more, and then maybe we'll wind down and just chat. We can just chat. Okay. Okay, so here's something that we haven't looked at. These consonant R clusters. Why don't we turn them into retroflexes in one of these branches? I think that would be fun. Oh, if Native Lang's done it, he's done a better job than me. So go watch that video. That's all right. So here we have dras, and this isn't going to be that interesting with our changes yet, but I'd like to, maybe we can actually do something in B1. No, not yet. So let's do it in B2. So here we're going to have coronal plus R clusters turn into retroflexes. So dras will become das. Das, and then I think more or less this is going to just percolate all through with no changes yet. And then in B3, it might just stay dras. So that's something that can happen. Maybe we Let's see if I can find an example where this cool thing might happen. Okay, so now we have a contrast between the clusters ending in R that arise as a result of the deletion of the initial syllable, and the clusters that arise as a result of just having a cluster in the proto-language. So let's see if we can find a good example. Do we have one? Darás. Okay, so this is great. This is great. We have dras and darás. So here we have darás. Here we have darás. Now we have darás and dras contrasting. Here we have das and darás contrasting. And here we have das and dras contrasting. So we maintain the contrast even though the shape of the contrast changes over time. You know, the tale as old as time. And then what we might do, I don't know. Let me look up the index diachronica to see what happens to retroflexes. So what do we have here? We don't have a lot of examples. Does anyone in the chat know of any sound changes where retroflexes do anything fun? What's the website I was just on? The one where I was doing this? This is just actually it's an app. It's called Sketchbook. Just lets you essentially draw with a graphics tablet and a stylus. If that's what you mean. Yeah, sadly, index diachronica is not giving a huge amount of stuff for retroflexes, but we see it going to, we see affricating in a bunch of cases. So maybe we can do that since this language likes affrication. So we have jiban and jas. Something like that. Kind of reminds me of Mandarin, actually. And then this one stays dras. So we have dras, jas. That works. And here we stay dras. Oh, we could have da turn into ra. If that's the, I don't know if that's the trill or the tap. The font's a bit small, but let's say, do we have any cases of that? We'd have to have something where, yeah, I like that, where we have da turn into ra intervocalically. I just don't have an example of that yet. Sad. Okay. Okay. Oh, the IPA keyboard. That is literally, I'll just type it. I'll just type it here. Ironically, not so ironically, the website is called Type It. So it is at ipa.typeit.org/full. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful site. Okay, let's finish dras here, and then maybe we could call it a day because I feel my throat getting a bit tired. So we are going to, let's finish B2. So I think we have basically dras for most of these. this will not stay, but and I know that you've given so many wonderful suggestions. I'm going to review this afterwards because the bandwidth of this device up here is not great. But with a bit of review time, I'll be able to assimilate all of your suggestions. Okay, and then in B3, the big change is voicing of or nasalization of voice stops. So daras goes to maras, and in fact, this should become mras. And then we have a total merger in 3-1. So dead and bay are both mras. That's kind of cool. All right. Okay, I have a chance now to look at the chat. So, what if in some line the retroflex is unretroflex and turn vowels low and back? Interesting. I'm very much into this idea of the retroflex is unretroflexing in one of the branches. But is it the case that retroflexes lower and back vowels? That I do not know. My retroflex skills, or at least I haven't done a lot of reading about retroflexes. In recent years anyway. Maybe I'd have 10 years ago. I don't remember. Do we have an example where retroflexes change vowels like that? Retroflexes can be RTR. Quay mentions that Mandarin doesn't allow E over after retroflex. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we centralize. So if we have like EA, maybe those can go back to some sort of or after the retroflex. Don't think we have an example of that here. But let's put that in. Where are we going to put that? Maybe we could put that in B2211, so we lose retroflexes here. So it just becomes das. And then if we had something like dri or something like that, where would be a good... Do we have one of those? I don't think so. Oh, we've got so many good things to do. Nrit. So maybe nrit would become nit or something like that. So do I have the... nit. Some of these central vowels, I don't know. Something like that, maybe? We could do that. Okay. I think I'm going to stop lest my voice get completely exhausted. But this has been a lot of fun. And I think, we won't stop the stream yet, but I'll stop recording for YouTube and then we can just chat a bit. Let's see. Okay, YouTube, thank you so much for joining. And what a fun time we've had. I don't know. This has been a great time for me. Come back to see more, I guess, is what I'm supposed to say, right? And now I have to do a sort of a freeze frame for the end. Maybe I always love those freeze frames in like 80s sitcoms where someone's, doing their everyday activities and then they're caught sort of, and then the credits come up. I don't know if we can do something like that, Lucy. Thoughts for the future. But here, okay, I'll end YouTube like this. Give one of those. And yeah, see you later, YouTube. Oh my goodness. What a fun time we have had. How's everyone doing today? It has been a lot of stuff to keep up here. I'll be very happy when we can actually start to name these branches and get a map going maybe sometime over the next little while. I'm going to promote Discord because Lucy has just suggested it. And yeah, if you're not on our Discord, you got to come onto the Discord. It's great. We're having constant great conversations on there. I've actually had a few really good reading suggested to me on there lately on suppletion. So we've got channels for language learning. We've got channels for Conlang. We've got channels for making food, right? We have a culinary arts channel now. And so don't go in that channel if you're hungry. It's the only thing I can say. So yeah, the link should be in the description. So if you are not there, that's how you can join. Yeah, Ship, thank you. Thank you for that. Sorry, I sometimes forget who's done what, but it's much appreciated. Otherwise, what's going on? Well, next week we have the first of our historical linguistics reconstruction challenges. And that's going to be fun. So the gist of that is we've broken it up into teams. So we're going to do one of these roughly every month. The first team's chance is next week. And what they've done is they've done basically what we've done today. They've taken a proto-language of their own devising, applied sound changes to make a variety of descendant languages, and then they're going to give those cognate sets to us, me and us, because you're going to be helping me, right? And we need to work out what the proto-language is. So group A is going next week, and so that's, I think, probably what we're going to be doing all week next week. And then, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. We have, we also have a lot of other things in the works. I'm going to be traveling next month, so there may be some disruptions to the stream schedule. I will keep you posted about that on Discord and on Twitter, and probably also on the YouTube community thing, because we got that now. That's always fun. Yeah, and then otherwise, it's just sort of the march forward. We've had a great pleasure to welcome many new people to the community in the last month. And so I'm seeing in the chat we've got some so we will get back to you about the firm dates for the second and third groups, because now all of the travel dates for me are set. So there will be 1 week where I will be internetless for all intents and purposes, so it can't be that week, but yeah, we'll sort all that out. And yeah, so if there's more interest in that, we may expand it to a group D, although we'll be scheduling relatively far in the future at that point, so I'm not entirely sure how we're going to handle it, but I think that this, we haven't done it yet. I think it's going to go well. So I foresee more of these groups happening in the future. Otherwise, I think that's that. So it has been, as always, an utter joy to spend a Tuesday afternoon with you. It's a joy on Thursday as well, but let's talk about Tuesday because that's the day it is. And so the more people that come in and join, the more fun we're going to have. And so this has been great. I think we had a really hopping chat today as usual. And so, yeah. Okay. That's enough prattling from me. I'm sure that there's going to be a good chance for everyone to rest their ears and for me to rest my voice. So we will see you all on Thursday and next week, and on Discord and on Twitter and all those good things. So thanks again, and we will see you soon. Hydrate. Caffeinate too.